morning sun shines on the gleaming hide of a muscular ranch horse. The aroma of bacon and coffee drifts from the wood cook stove at a cow camp. Silver spurs jingle as the men and women of the West get set for another day in the saddle. From the heart of Canada's finest ranching country, this is the Spirit of the West with rancher and horse trainer Hugh McLennan and his collection of music, poetry, and conversations with the folks who live and work with horses and cattle in the Spirit of the West.
This past summer, while Billy and I have been out riding in the hills, we have been keeping our eyes out for a good prospect again. And we took note of several in various locations. Some were a little bit lean, some sure needed better shoulders, and some looked a little ragged, but there were a few that had just the right coat. And now we're trying to remember where they are. Christmas tree prospects. You see, we'll be heading out about tomorrow sometime to try and find one. I love this time of year, and next week it'll be the Spirit of the West Christmas special with the real essence of Christmas in cattle country. But this week, you'll hear several of the great songs that I just didn't have room for on next week's show.
And we'll fill the cowboy poetry spotlight with a great classic called Line Camp Christmas Letter.
Axe handle bust, woodpile low, ain't got much fire tonight.
Lots of stories on the Rangeland news, including a look at the rest of the winter and what the weather might be like.
One difference between this coming winter and the winter of 5 years ago, more drought area is noted going into the 2023-24 winter season.
And what's more fun than going to the annual Christmas Pageant, where proud parents and glowing grandparents all gather in the church or the school gymnasium to watch the youngsters act out the Christmas story. This week, Sky Shivers will be back to describe what you may have seen happen at one of those gatherings.
And we looked up, and this donkey had reached up and unclipped his lead rope. Apparently he had got bored already, and he leaves out through the Sunday school room doors.
And chapter 1 of this episode comes right up after what happened when a cattle drive got stalled in a winter storm with Jim Jones. It's called Tumbleweed Christmas.
Out of Fort Worth, running 3 weeks late, trying to drive her to Santa Fe. Another blue wind and that panhandle wind left us struggling for every step we take. Now we're stranded on the trail, in the wind, the rain and hail. We keep it company with 1,000 longhorn steers. But we won't make it home for Christmas this year. Sitting by the fire, trying to keep dry, thinking about my family back home. In my mind I see stockings and a tree as the children wait for Santa Claus to come. When some tumbleweeds blow in and stack up one by one till the shape of a Christmas tree appears. Looks like we'll have a tumbleweed Christmas this year. We're gonna have a tumbleweed Christmas, and I wish that I was home in Santa Fe. Stars, it's Christmas in our hearts as we think back on another midnight clear. We're gonna have a tumbleweed Christmas this year. the frozen evening dew to decorate our tumbleweed tree. Then old Billy told that story we all know about the baby who had come to set us free. And as we looked up at the sky, we all realized it don't matter where you kneel to say your prayers. Christmas means the same thing everywhere. We're gonna have a tumbleweed Christmas. Well, I wish that I was home in Santa Fe. But out here beneath the stars, it's Christmas in our hearts as we think back on another midnight clear. We're gonna have a tumbleweed Christmas this year. Looks like we'll have a tumbleweed Christmas this year.
And now we'll take you right to the little country church and Sky Shivers with the story of the Christmas pageant.
Well, it come time for the show that Wednesday night. Preacher got up and he told how it was all going to be, and it started. The special choir sang some songs, and then in came Mary and Joseph and the donkey on a tether. They had a lead rope on this donkey, just hoping they could keep him somewhere near his older sister and this oldest boy cousin. And it all went pretty good. The preacher went to reading the Bible story, and we looked up, and this donkey had reached up and unclipped his lead rope. Apparently he had got bored already, and he leaves out through the Sunday school room doors. Well, we all think, we're all parents and church members, and we think this is kind of cute because it's not our kid. We think this is funny. Well, the heavenly host in the back, out of sight, they sang a song, and the special choir sings a song. The preacher reads a little more, and then the heavenly host come in the Sunday school side door and start pushing and shoving each other up into these turned around backwards pews. And they hadn't no more than got there till my 2-year-old, who we'd had a real hard time introducing into clothes, decided that, and you got to remember those little microphones that hang down from the ceiling. Somehow she got right under one, and all we can hear is, "I hot, I hot." And now we have got an angel stripping on stage, and there isn't nothing nobody can do, because the more they fight her, the louder she gets. Pretty soon she's got a halo and a diaper on. That's it. Looks more like Cupid than an angel.
There's more memories of the Christmas pageant when the Spirit of the West continues right after this. Welcome back to the Spirit of the West. We'll get back to what's happening at the Christmas pageant right after this terrific new song, and it comes from a brand new CD called Our First Noel, featuring some of Western music's finest, including R.W. Hampton, Belinda Gale, Curly Musgrave, and Kip Callahan. It's called Cowboy Christmas Eve.
Come in, cowboy, the horses are fed. Our little girl has gone to bed. It's Christmas Eve, you've worked hard all day. It's time to toss your worries away. Kick off your boots, come dance with me. Let's waltz around the Christmas tree. Your love can be your gift to me. cowboy.
Give me a kiss. I've always dreamed of a Christmas like this.
It's quiet and peaceful as the fire burns low. Oh look, it's starting to snow.
I've kicked off my boots, so come dance with me.
Let's waltz around the Christmas tree. Your love can be your gift to me. It's a cowboy Christmas Eve. Good night, cowboy.
Good night, darling. Thanks for the dance. This ranch has given us another chance. I'll remember this Christmas for the rest of my life.
And always be thankful I'm a cowboy's wife. So kick off your boots, come dance with me. Let's waltz around the Christmas tree. Your love can be your gift to me. It's a cowboy Christmas Eve. A cowboy Christmas Eve.
And that's Kip Callahan and Curly Musgrave and a great song about a Christmas Eve somewhere on a ranch in the West. Well, Sky Shivers is describing last year's Christmas pageant at the church where he and his family worship, and as you heard, Sky's 2-year-old daughter stole the show when she removed her entire angel costume except for a halo and a diaper. Sky, what happened next?
Well, in the meantime, we hear noises in the background. Sounded something like a bookshelf falling over. I'm not real sure what it was, but it was bad. And then it's time for the shepherds to come in the other side door from the other side of the stage, and here come all these little sheep. I mean, there was woolly boogers all over that stage before it's over with. We had a lot of little bitty kids that couldn't memorize parts, so we made sheeps out of all of them. And they got all these furry bedspreads on and these little sheep masks, and the shepherds are herding them here, getting into the right place. But we notice that the head shepherd is not there. But we hear noises. And finally the side door opens, and here comes the head shepherd, and he has the donkey in a headlock. Dragging his cousin, the donkey, back onto stage, gives him a big shove back over to his appropriate place, which just happens to be that when he does, in being pushed over, he lands on his hands and knees, and his knee just happens to land on the bare toe, which is encased in one of them Walmart rubber thongs of Joseph. Joseph knows immediately that being an equine trainer of vast experience, that when a horse or a donkey steps on your foot, you immediately hit him. So we've got the stepfather of Joseph doing domestic violence right there on stage to this donkey. And the donkey backs up a ways and does not want to get too close to Joseph anymore. Now, about that time, our attention is diverted to the back of the church house, because here come the camels and the wise men. In a little caravan, 3 wise men in a row and 3 camels. Now, in practice, in the daytime, with the church house lights on, they could see pretty good. But this is at night, and the lights have been turned down low, and they screen wire and fake fur in front of these camels' eyes, located somewhere about their Adam's apples on that old long camel neck. And we got along pretty good till they's about halfway down the aisle, and then camel number 2 accidentally bumps into the hindermost parts of camel number 1. Camel number 1 doesn't like this. Now remember, the frontmost parts don't know nothing about what's going on. Just the back end of camel number 1 is involved in this fracas, and he kicks camel number 2 right in the thigh and frogs him. Now we have got a crippled camel going down the aisle, and he's saying stuff. Camels aren't supposed to talk English, but this camel was talking, making threats to the hindermost part of camel number 1. And about that time, camel number 3, who was a little late getting out of well, it was outdoors is where they was. They was cold out there. And he hurried and run down the aisle, and it was hard to see exactly when he should have stopped, because he slams into the hindermost parts of camel number 2, who then pushed the front parts of himself onto the hindermost parts of camel number 1 again, but this time 2 camels are down in the aisle. Sort of in a mud wrestling position. And that's when we learned that a fraud had been perpetuated on us, because we found out, because of the words that we heard from somewhere amidst that pile of camels, that one of these camels was not a Baptist camel at all. They was naughty words coming from that camel pile up.
So now we have a camel pile up in the aisle of the church, and Sky will pick up the story, and you'll hear what happened next in just a few minutes. Coming right up, the 2 classic cowboy voices join together to sing Riding Home on Christmas Eve, Michael Martin Murphey and Ranger Doug, backed up by Riders in the Sky. And then it'll be the Rangeland News, when the Spirit of the West continues right after this. Welcome back to the Spirit of the West.
Ranger Doug Green of Riders in the Sky wrote this beautiful song of Cowboy Christmas. He's joined here by Michael Martin Murphey and the rest of the riders on Riding Home on Christmas Eve.
I'm riding home on Christmas Eve, rolling along with the tumbleweed. The winter wind blows cold and strong, still it pushes me along and sings a song, homecoming song, on Christmas Eve, as I ride for home on Christmas Eve.
They say the beast on Christmas Eve and even speak, so they believe. I know I heard in a wild thing's throat a trembling sad and lonesome note, a lonesome note that calls me home on Christmas Eve, as I ride for home on Christmas Eve. And sings a song, homecoming song, on Christmas Eve, as I ride for home on Christmas Eve.
If you're buying or selling farm machinery, heavy equipment, or trucks, let Progressive Auctions take the hassle out of your sale or your search. There's an online auction every Wednesday at progressiveauctions.ca. Doesn't matter where you live, Progressive Auctions can find the machinery or equipment you need or the buyers who are looking for what you're selling. ProgressiveAuctions.ca. For more information, call 844-309-9424.
The Rangeland News from the Spirit of the West. A roundup of issues and events from the world of agriculture.
At the top of page 1, it says, looking ahead to the remaining winter, it seems there's something to compare it with. It looks like El Nino will be the influence, and the last time that happened, things were okay. And with more on that, here's Rod Bain with a weather expert.
The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration says El Nino will be the predominant weather pattern this winter, meaning warm, dry conditions in the nation's northern tier and cloudy and wet in the southern half of the country. What might this look and feel like? USDA meteorologist Brad Rippey says an indication can be found in the last time El Nino was fully established in the winter season.
Going all the way back to 2018-19.
He adds there was a near nationwide wet pattern going into the spring of 2019.
We dipped to a record low drought coverage, just over 2% of the country in drought in the spring of 2019. And we also saw extensive flooding in all three of the major river basins, the Mississippi, the Ohio, and the Missouri.
One difference between this coming winter and the winter of 5 years ago, more drought area is noted going into the 2023-24 winter season. I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
A new research project at the University of Nebraska's Lincoln Panhandle Research Feedlot in Scottsbluff will be studying alternatives to distillers in feedlot diets as the future of biodiesel looks to change. In June of this year, the U.S. Environment Protection Agency announced the set rule for 2023 to 25 that included steady growth of biofuels for the nation's fuel supply. And while biodiesel saw an increase, ethanol did not. And this could mean more soybeans and their byproducts would be available as livestock feed compared to corn. Pablo Loza, the Feedlot Management and Nutrition Extension Specialist at the Panhandle Research and Extension Center, is leading the new project to increase alternatives in diet formulations, and the study will have 448 steers putting on weight this winter with a series of diets that includes different protein concentrates. And the steers in the trial will be in 56 pens with 7 different treatments. And the project will evaluate several diets, including a non-byproduct diet treatment where neither soybeans nor distillers' grains will be used as a negative control. And since the majority of feedlots commonly use some kind of byproduct diet, Loza will have a positive control diet using distillers, a common cattle diet. And the governments of Canada and Ontario now have reached a $2 million funding agreement with the Guelph, Ontario-based Livestock Research Innovation Corporation, and the agreement will provide support for LRIC's activities on behalf of the livestock sector for the next 5 years through the Sustainable Canadian Agriculture Partnership. That's a 5-year federal, provincial, territorial initiative. Canadian senators rejected a legislative amendment that would have removed carbon tax exemptions. The Canadian Senate voted 42 to 28 against the amendments to the C-234 bill a couple of weeks ago, and the vote took about 7 or 8 minutes, and as the votes came in and we realized we were going to win, David Wells said, "I was quite relieved, and I knew what we were doing was going to save millions and millions of dollars for farmers, growers, and ranchers." Senator David Wells' Bill C-234, a Senate sponsor, told Farms.com that it's not very every day that you do something that has an impact like that. And the carbon tax savings could equal about $1 billion. And a report from the Parliamentary Budget Officer shows removing the carbon tax on natural gas and propane could save producers up to $978 million by 2030. And the result clears the path for Bill C-234 in its original form to have its third reading in the Senate, and it is one step closer to receiving royal assent and finally becoming law. And the recently announced Canada-Alberta Drought Livestock Assistance Program has raised the ire of beef producers across the province. They're not happy with that only growers in certain municipalities, mostly in the northwest and southern ends of the province, are eligible. And that condition was not present in a previous agri-recovery program that provided aid to beef producers suffering losses following the 2021 drought. The situation faced by producers in 2021 was different than 2023. Extreme dry conditions were more widespread in 21, so there was no geographic restrictions on the province's response for livestock producers that year. Eligible producers can apply for a feed assistance payment based on a feed need calculation, which administers the program, that's AFSC, requires proof of extraordinary expenses occurred during the drought conditions between June 1st, 2023 and March 31st, 2024, and applications close at midnight January 15th. And according to the AFSC, eligible producers could access about $150 per head to help maintain the breeding herd in the drought regions. And recent confirmed cases of bovine tuberculosis in a Saskatchewan cattle herd have led the province to expand its annual wildlife monitoring program for chronic wasting disease, also known as CWD, to include TB. And the province each year since 1997 has asked hunters to submit heads from harvested deer, moose, and elk to test for CWD, and it announced on the 26th of September that it has opened CWD testing drop-off locations for this year until January 21st, 2024. According to the USDA's latest AFIDA report, which is based on 2021 data, over 40 million acres of U.S. agricultural land are owned by foreign investors and companies. This corresponds to 3.1% of all privately held agricultural land and 1.8% of all land in the U.S. Canadian investors own the largest portion of foreign-held U.S. agricultural land with 31%, or 12.8 million acres of the total, and 0.9% of all U.S. agricultural land. And following Canada, investors from the Netherlands, Italy, the United Kingdom, and Germany own about 0.3% or 4.9 million acres. A woman is dead after she apparently was trampled by an elk near Kingman, Arizona. Arizona Game and Fish Department officials announced that a woman who has not been named died 8 days after the incident in the Pine Lake community about 15 miles southeast of Kingman. The attack reportedly happened on October 26 while a woman's husband was in Kingman, and according to the officials, when the husband returned to their property, he found his wife on the ground in the backyard with injuries that appeared to be consistent with being trampled by an elk. And he also reported seeing a bucket of spilled corn nearby. Authorities say there are no witnesses to the incident. Well, cattle sales resume on January the 9th at the BC Livestock Co-op with a regular cattle sale at the Kamloops yards. Get all the information and watch the sales streaming live at bclivestock.bc.ca. And meanwhile, at the Innisfail Auction Market regular cattle sale on December the 20th, and that will be it before Christmas. And then regular cattle sales, pre-sort sales, bred cow and heifer sales all resume early in January. And you get all the information at InnisfailAuctionMarket.com, or just give Danny, Mark, or Dwayne a call at 1-800-710-3166.
And now, the final item. I hope the folks from PETA don't hear this. There's a couple of places between our ranch and the city of Kamloops where they raise turkeys. And with Christmas dinner on the horizon, I was hoping for some good advice. So I stopped in at Ben's place on my way to town the other day, and I said, "Hey, Ben, we were just wondering how you prepare your turkeys for Christmas." And Ben says, "Oh, we're right up front with them. We just come right out and tell them, you're going to die." And that's the Rangeland News. How old is too old to start a horse into a training program? That's the question I'll look at on the Horse Training File when the Spirit of the West continues right after this.
Welcome back to the Spirit of the West. The ongoing episode at the Christmas Pageant with Sky Shivers will continue, and coming right up is the Irvin Saddles and Western Wear Horse Training File, and I'll look at how old a horse can be and still be started as a riding horse. Breaking news. The 2024 Spirit of the West cruise to South America is nearly sold out. There still are a few spots left for this once-in-a-lifetime experience. Our group, hosted by Kathy and Mark McMillan, will take you along to South America from one side to the other. And you'll get to sail right around Cape Horn and visit the Falkland Islands, a 19-day holiday with a 15-day cruise on the Sapphire Princess. And all shore excursions are private and included, and there's a special group farm tour in Argentina. Check out the cruise page at hugh-mclennan.com to see some of these incredible shore excursions that'll take you right into the lifestyle of the gauchos and the South American cattle industry and much more. Great chance to visit with your fellow Spirit of the West cruisers, and we all have so much in common. And booking on this great cruise will help us keep the Spirit of the West on the air. For all the details, just call 1-800-530-0131 and see our cruise page at hugh-mclennan.com.
Now it's time for the Horse Training File, brought to you by Irvine Tack and Western Wear, Canada's largest Western store.
Everyone knows that Irvine Tack and Western Wear is the place for Western wear boots and saddles. Irvine's is also your go-to for animal health and wellness, livestock, poultry, and of course, horses. You'll find feed, supplements, first aid supplies too, plus a great selection of grooming products to get your horses ready for show, rodeo, and stampede season. Animal health and wellness. Irvine Tack and Western Wear, exit 305 off Highway 2 by Crossfield.
Canada's largest Western store.
Somebody called the other day and said that they were thinking of buying a promising, well-bred 6-year-old horse that was just halter broke and wanted to know whether I thought a 6-year-old was too old to break and train to ride. Well, I've given a lot of thought to working with colts of various ages, and this is a good chance to discuss a horse's trainability relative to his age. Starting 2-year-olds is a very common practice, and to enter a performance horse in a futurity, that's what you have to do. And I've started many a 2-year-old for folks over the years. However, with my own horses, I'd just as soon wait until they're at least 3. I don't think there's necessarily an ideal age for starting a horse. I used to think that once you got beyond 5, the horse may be too set in his ways to bother with, but I've had enough older horses to start that I don't subscribe to that idea anymore. Generally speaking, I found that there are several advantages to starting an older horse, and not too many disadvantages. Most older horses have a much longer concentration span. They're usually a little more self-confident, and they can handle longer rides and training sessions, both physically and mentally. And in the past few years, I've started several 6, 7, and 8-year-olds, and they've all turned out pretty well. I recently started a 13-year-old broodmare who'd never been saddled, and she may have been the oldest horse I had the opportunity to start, but she turned out real well, too. So based on what I've seen and experienced, I wouldn't hesitate to take on an older horse as long as he had the conformation, the temperament, and was the type of horse the owner was happy with.
And for Irvine Saddles and Western Wear, that's this week's Horse Training File. And you know, something else that does our horses a world of good is their daily feeding of Hoffman's Horse Ration. And you can find out all about it, why it works so well, and what's in it at hoffmanshorseproducts.com. The way the Canada Revenue Agency deals with ranchers and farmers has changed a lot in the last few years, and the financial decisions we make today can have a long-lasting impact on our bottom line far into the future. It really helps to have a trusted professional who really understands your situation to guide you with all your accounting requirements and your tax preparation. Having an accountant who knows the difference between a Hereford and a heifer, what a slick and backgrounding are, and that Alfalfa and Timothy are not just names from a storybook really helps. Kathy McMillan of PMT Chartered Professional Accountants understands the intricacies of specialized programs like Agri-Stability and Agri-Invest. She understands the demands on your time and can help you spend more time doing your job and less time dealing with endless piles of paperwork. See PMTaccountants.com or call toll-free 877-383-8081.
Now, just ahead of some more highlights from the annual Christmas Pageant with Sky Shivers, here's a couple from Montana, Rick Stanke and Linda Hosler.
Winter in the Rockies may come unexpected. You never know when a cold wind's gonna blow. You may get a light Chinook warming up the valley, or an old blue norther bringing in the snow. But we're gonna have a Rocky Mountain Christmas We're gonna celebrate the newborn King. He was born to set us free and give us life eternally. That's why bells on Christmas ring. It ain't always easy feeding cattle in the winter, but a cowboy's got work to do, and he'll do it with pride. After a hot cup of coffee and the neighbors here for dinner, the holidays can warm you up inside. We're gonna have a Rocky Mountain Christmas. We're gonna celebrate the newborn King. He was born to set us free and give us life eternally. That's why bells on Christmas ring. For people all over the world, sharing the holy news from the heart of the West, we're sending our best and season's greetings to you. Santa Fe to Denver, Montana to Alberta, folks all gather around the tree, young and old alike. There's turkey in the oven, relatives are coming, little buckaroos won't sleep at all tonight. Come on everybody, we're gonna have a Rocky Mountain Christmas. We're gonna celebrate the newborn King. He was born to set us free and give us life eternally. That's why bells on Christmas ring. We're gonna have a Rocky Mountain Christmas. We're gonna celebrate the newborn King. He was born to set us free and give us life eternally. That's why bells on Christmas ring. He was born to set us free and give us life eternally. That's why bells on Christmas ring.
Okay, now let's get back to the Christmas pageant with Sky Shivers. And we had the camels collapsing into Donnybrook. The donkey came back, and Sky, what happened next?
We see what has got everybody on stage worried for. You see, the donkey has brought puppets back with him this time. He'd gone into the nursery and got all them high-dollar puppets that we had gathered money for to educate them little bitty kids, and he distributes them to the sheep. And now, for the first time in the history of Christmas plays, Kermit the Frog, Miss Piggy, and the Cookie Monster are in the holy pageant. Now, from the side door, you can hear two mothers frantically making all kind of vile threats on the life of this small donkey. And this donkey figures he's crossed the line, so he gathers them puppets back up from the sheep, and the sheep give him somewhat of a tussle because they was enjoying that. And he's looking around for the quickest way to get rid of these puppets because he knows he's in big trouble now. And you know the old saying, out of sight, out of mind. He chunked them in the baptistry. All of a sudden, you got all kind of little puppets doing half gainers, double somersaults, and full gainers doing them. Well, they would have got like 8 and 9s and 10s if they'd been at the Olympics. And you could hear them in the back, kerchunk, kerchunk, and you could hear the lady in charge of the nursery let out a small scream as she fled up the aisle, through the side doors, and up the stairs of the baptistry. And she's making like Jacques Cousteau and diving for these $85 a piece puppets in the baptistry. We figured that probably it ruined most of them. Probably not Kermit the Frog, since water is a frog's natural element, but probably the rest of them was ruined.
Oh, dear. Well, the story will continue in just a few minutes. Brett Kessel, now just a household name in country music, was raised on the family farm just north of Edmonton, a place called Flat Lake, Alberta, and the nearest town was St. Paul. Back in 2009, he wrote this as he was driving back from somewhere far away, and he calls it The Lights of St. Paul.
I've been gone for nearly all year long, far away from my home, but I'm coming back to spend the holidays, and there's just one click to go, and shining across the snow is that old familiar glow in my hometown. And I just can't wait, no I just can't wait. There's something about this time of year, there's something about it all. It's like a holy night with the stars shining bright when I see the lights of St. Paul. I start singing all those Christmas songs that I'll hear soon. And when I get there, a subtle scent of pine will fill the room. Yeah, when I get this close to the ones I love the most, I'll speed up a little just to make good time. 'Cause I just can't wait, no I just can't wait. There's something about this time of year, there's something about it all. It's like a holy night with the stars shining bright when I see the lights of St. Paul. They can go back to, and when they get this close I hope they feel the way that I do. 'Cause I just can't wait, no I just can't wait. There's something about this time of year, there's something about it all. It's like a holy night with the stars shining bright when I see the lights of St. Paul. Of St. Paul.
Well, please don't go away because the final installment of the Christmas Pageant is coming right up. Along with the Cowboy Poetry Spotlight when the Spirit of the West continues right after this.
Welcome back to the Spirit of the West. Sky Shivers has been relating the unforeseen events that all happened at the annual Christmas Pageant with us over the last hour, and we had everything like a camel pile up, a disappearing donkey, the first ever appearance of Kermit the Frog and his friends in a Christmas pageant, and things had been getting out of hand. And Sky, I know that folks have been listening since the start of the show. We're kind of wondering, how did all this come to a conclusion?
The preacher by this point knows it's lost. He wisely runs up on stage, grabs up the donkey, figuring that if he's got him in his arms, things are bound to settle down. And he closes out immediately with this prayer. Heavenly Father, we want to give thanks tonight for all the good things that you've sent to us this year. We want to thank you for these small children and their ability to be themselves no matter what. We also thank you for being wise enough to place in all of us a sense of humor, that we might be able to laugh when a situation takes on a life of its own. But most of all, we want to give thanks to you for sending the most special child that has ever been born to a small country town many years ago as a gift to all of mankind. And as we close this celebration of his birth, we all want to say, Happy birthday, Jesus. Amen.
Thank you so much, Sky Shivers, for some real flavor of Christmas. You know, there is just something special about the sound of your horse's feet as you ride through the dry, powdery snow. You see the steam rising from the backs of the cows as you drift them on down to the feed ground. The kind of feeling David John and the Comstock Cowboys capture when they sing about Christmas in the Sierras.
The nights are so clear in December. The moonlight streaks through the pines. Mountains reach closer to heaven, especially around Christmas time. This old horse, he's high and he's prancing through the deep drifted snow. Saddlebags packed with surprises to bring to the ones I love so. It's Christmas in the Sierra, here in the fresh fallen snow. Christmas high in the mountains, I'm on the trail riding home. The wind in the tall ponderosa whispers a song soft and low. Spirits of cowboys that rode here from Christmases long, long ago. In the distance, cabin lights aglow. Christmas fills up the night. All that I love is here waiting for me at the end of my ride. It's Christmas in the Sierra, here in the fresh fallen snow. Christmas high in the mountains, I'm on the trail riding home. In the Sierra, here in the fresh fallen snow. Christmas high in the mountains, I'm on the trail riding home. Christmas high in the mountains, I'm on the trail riding home.
David John and the Comstock Cowboys, and they will be back next week on our annual Christmas special.
And now the Christmas Cowboy Lantern shines on the great cowboy poet Dick Morton and the Line Camp Christmas Letter.
Inside an old West line camp, sitting on his lonely bed, a cowboy wrote a letter home, and this is what it said. Dear folks, looks like Christmas time is coming on again, and I ain't wrote no letter since the devil don't know when. So now I thought I'd drop a line, just like I done last year, to let you know I'm safe and well and full of Christmas cheer. Seems like the news ain't much to tell. A blizzard blowing now. There'll be some cattle drifting. Merry Christmas, anyhow. I've been out riding most all day. The horse I rode went lame. The cattle sure are scattered. Merry Christmas, just the same. Last night my water holes froze up. Snow sure is slow to thaw. Some cattle looking poorly. Merry Christmas, Pa and Ma. This line camp shack has got some cracks that lets the snow sift through. Well, Merry Christmas to you folks, and Happy New Year, too. Excuse this crooked writing. Got my hands frostbit, I guess. The cattle sure are drifting. Merry Christmas, Frank and Bess. Axe handle busted. Woodpile low. Ain't got much fire tonight. The drifts have knocked some line fence down. I trust you're all right. My pot of beans boiled dry and scorched while I was out today. Them cows are drifting awful. Merry Christmas, anyway. Well, folks, I've got to cut this short and mend my busted rope. Just thought I'd drop a little line. You all keep well, I hope. This cowboy life is wonderful. Sure glad I came out west. Give my regards to Adelaide and Jack and all the rest. I'm glad I ain't a cow tonight. Outside I hear 'em bawl. Poor critters sure are drifting. Merry Christmas to you all.
Well, thank you so much for riding along this week. And remember, next week it's the annual Spirit of the West Christmas Special. And this is the only show of the year that you'll hear my wife Billy taking part in. And we have a sleigh full of Christmas memories from cowboys, ranch folk, along with the finest cowboy-flavored Western music you'll hear anywhere. And now, remember, you can see this show and many more from our archives on our YouTube channel, and you can download them as a podcast. The links are right there on our website, hugh-mcclellan.com. And thanks again to Mark and Kathy, our great support crew. Till next week, I'm Hugh McClellan. Hope to see you down the trail somewhere real soon.